had a terrible cold, and so I'm glad to be back to talk to you all about the balancing act. And I know a lot of you are reading Rory Vaden's book, Take the Stairs. And these last 3 months of the year, you guys, this is the time to climb. This is the biggest quarter that we have in Arbonne, and it's also the busiest in our lives. I think when you factor in all of the holidays, when you factor in school in full swing and kids playing sports and all of that, it definitely is a balancing act. So this is a great subject that I have to share with you guys tonight. So, it always seems to me that when I have the most to do is when I get the most done. And I think back last year to my daughter's wedding, and I'm telling you what, the month she got married, I had one of the biggest months in my Arbonne business. And it just seems that way to me. When you're a college student and you have to write a paper, I think that most people do well working under pressure. And I, for one, when it was the night before the paper was due, boy, could I churn out a good paper. And it just seems that when you have a lot to do, you can get a lot more done. And we always say in Arbonne, look for busy people, because busy people know how to get things done. But this little guy here on the screen spinning the plates, sometimes you can begin to really feel like you're just spinning the plates and not able to get them up in the air and keep them going. So, and that's one of the biggest things I think I hear, and probably you hear from new business builders or prospects, is that they're so busy they can't fit anything in. I know a few weeks ago, Shelley Nelson trained, and she talked about starting your business is like the month of December, like fitting everything in the month of December, telling somebody they have to start a new business and have Christmas at the same time, or it's like bringing a baby home from the hospital. And so, I think that if we personally as consultants can really work hard at not being hairy and scary, looking like we're running everywhere and we're out of control, if we can order our worlds a little bit better, we really make the business a lot more attractive to other people. So I wanted to start out by talking about really what is balance. And the dictionary definition of balance is a condition in which elements are in equal proportion. Okay, guys, that is not life. That might be a scale, but balance is not real life. There really is no such thing as balance. Rory Vaden defines balance as appropriate time spent on critical activities. And I just love that definition. I feel like that is so freeing, because when you think about life, life is lived and worked in seasons. The book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible talks about there being a time for every season, time for everything. It doesn't talk about life being balanced and equal. It talks about times of great joy and great sorrow. It talks about times of planting, times of drought, times of harvest. So I really feel like our lives will run much smoother if we stop trying to do everything equally and just embrace this idea of focusing on the critical things for a chunk of time. And a season doesn't have to be a long length of time. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 months. Sometimes it's a year. But sometimes it's a focused 15 minutes in the day. And that's enough appropriate time spent on a critical activity in our business. So one thing I do want you to know is, if you're in a season of building your business, and I think probably everybody who's on here is in a season of building your business, and that's why you're on. You need to understand that in order to get to the next level, in order to get to the VP level, you are going to have to focus intensely and fight and push and go all out with everything you've got for a time. And that is what's going to advance your business. You think about a farmer. He doesn't start trying to plant in the middle of the wintertime because he doesn't have anything to do. He waits till spring to plant. And lots of times it's a short window of opportunity. Farmers work super hard and super intensely for certain seasons. So I want you guys just to take a minute to read this. DT, PT, FT, FT. So I'm reading through the book, Take the Stairs, and I come across this. And I have to confess, I had to read this little quote several times. But when you think about it and when you understand this working super hard and super focused for a season, it makes sense. Working double time, part-time, for full-time free time. So we just heard from all these MVPs who are enjoying a vacation on Arbonne because this is what they've done. They've worked double time for a season, part-time, and now they have full-time free time. And, that doesn't mean that they don't work their businesses, but that means that they can take time to play and have that time free of stress and worry. Rory Vaden in the book, if you've read it, he used the example of getting out of debt and how he was, I think, in debt $45,000, and he used, I'm not going to be able to think of the guy's name. You all know the great money guru who's on the radio all the time. I'm sure Legina's nodding yes and maybe texting his name. He used his system and he focused and got himself on a budget and kept track of every penny and worked hard and worked at paying off his debt. And in 2 years, he was debt free. And for the rest of his life, he could enjoy being debt free because he had worked double time for those 2 years to get that way. So this is such an interesting concept. I love the slide of the slinky. So I want to know what your life looks like. And you all remember playing with a slinky. And when you could actually get it to go down the stairs perfectly, wasn't that just the best feeling in the world when you were a kid? Okay. Thinking about fitting Arbonne into your life. Some of us are just sitting there with that slinky and we're like, I don't know if I can fit it in. And we're just kind of swinging it back and forth. Do you ever feel like you're so busy that you don't know what you're doing? Like I don't know what to do first, and I'm just standing here. Maybe I should do this first. Maybe I should do that first. And sometimes you throw your hands up in the air and your life ends up like the tangled slinky, which is the nightmare no kid ever wants to see, right? But when you're running on a schedule and you are in momentum, you are like that slinky going on down the stairs. And the cool thing actually about the slinky is you actually have to put that in motion. You have to set it and line it up on the stairs. You have to put it in motion, okay? And sometimes when it stops, you have to go back and set it in motion again. And this is a lot like your life in that momentum and rhythm. And when you get yourself on a schedule and you know the amount of time that you need to be spending for certain activities, doesn't it just run smoothly and wonderfully? And the key here, you guys, is to know that when you do get off schedule, it's up to you to start again. Okay, Rory Vaden talks about putting your self-esteem into your work habits and not putting your self-esteem into the results. So in other words, your ability to get yourself back on schedule when things have come up during your day, okay? I know I'm not alone in this, but I can be humming along and, man, getting things done, filling out the doing your part worksheet and all of that, and just my business is going, I'm making calls, I'm doing this, and all of a sudden it's like squirrel, and you're off on a different track. And sometimes when you get off on a different track, you can find yourself off it for a week or two. And the key is to be able to focus enough on the good feeling of being in that rhythm and the momentum that you get yourself back on track earlier. So I want to just talk real quick about some super simple nuts and bolts, because I want you guys to be able to leave here with some really concrete things to do. I want to talk about how do we schedule, what should we schedule, what do we write our schedule on. And one of the things I think it's important to think about is, there's certain times that are better than others to be focused on certain activities. So like when we start somebody new in the business, what's the first thing we know that they need to do besides signing up, ordering products? They need to get their calendar full. What are the things that they want to do usually? They're wanting to go buy their tubs, organize their office, buy cute little folders, and we often have to redirect and no, we need to get your calendar full, because if we don't have your calendar full, you're not going to have anybody to put their feet in those foot spas, nobody to hold those catalogs in their hands. Let's get your calendar full. And even when you've been in the business for a while, you might find yourself focusing on the wrong things at the wrong time. Like I have talked with people about calling to make appointments, and one of the questions I'll often ask if I have a business builder who is like not getting a hold of people, and they're like, I called 25 people today and I didn't get any appointments booked. Okay, well, when did you call those people? You need to think about the best time to actually be making the phone calls. That is awesome that you are sitting down and making phone calls. But let's contact people when they're actually home and available and not out at work, So you need to think about when the best time is to be focused on the activity. You need to understand that scheduling really does put your life into momentum and rhythm. I know whenever I would bring a new baby home from the hospital, I knew I was in for 6 to 8 weeks of no sleep. But you guys better believe that I worked super hard at teaching that baby how to sleep because I knew that I needed to sleep. And so taking the time to put your life into momentum and rhythm is going to make your life so much smoother and happier. Scheduling also makes sure that you're satisfying all the commitments that you have, okay? Most of us are not just Arbonne ladies. Most of us wear tons of different hats. We do leadership things at church. We have kids that we're carting here and there and everywhere. We're wives. We run a household. We have other jobs, JOBs, outside of Arbonne. So keeping everything on a schedule makes sure that you're satisfying all of those commitments. And I love the end of this little sentence, while you're creating a life that you love, that is free of stress and full of fun. And wouldn't we all love to be right now in a nice warm place, free of stress and full of fun? So, okay, one of the things that Rory talks about in the book is critical success factors. So when you're looking specifically at your business and what you want to put on your calendar, you want to know what are the critical success factors for running your business. And it's pretty simple with Arbonne because we have a recipe for success. So you want to make sure that you're doing all of those S's, the scheduling, selling, sponsor, stay plugged in, self-development. Those are the things you want on your calendar. So what do you write things on? Okay. I think I heard this on a Voxer maybe a couple of months ago, one of the Voxer trainings we do. I'm telling you, this was the most freeing thing for me. I had it in my head that I needed to use my phone because everybody's using technology nowadays and have everything on the calendar on my phone. And well, that's very handy when you're out and about to be able to look at the calendar quick on your phone. I just believe that having a paper calendar open on your desk with a month at a glance is the most simple and really a necessary tool. So I'm old school in that. I would advise you, if you're using your phone, that's great. But also, you know what? Go to the dollar store, get yourself a paper calendar, month at a glance, so that you can see everything. This tip, use colored pens or highlighters. This is such an excellent tip. So obviously you're going to write in all your family's activities, your kids' sports, games, practices, all of that. And you're also going to write in your business activities and your business builders. I like to highlight, especially, my family in a certain color, but my personal activity in one color, and then business builder activity in another color, so that you can see at a glance that you are not neglecting your own business. That is a trap you do not want to fall into. You want to be working like 80-20. You want to be working and spending about 80% of your time building your own personal business, always keeping your own personal business going, and only about 20% helping business builders, spending time on the phone if you're not near them and things like that. So using colored pens and highlighters, simple, really simple tip, but I think it is a super important one. And then use the Tracking for Success monthly tracking tool. I'm going to try to go to it here so you guys can see. This is the best tool. I'm hoping you guys can see it. If you can't, it is on Carlita's website. It's also on Legina's Directed Path. It's 2 pages. And I only have one showing, but that's okay. Oh, there's the second one. So this tool, you guys, this really, to me, it totally takes the guesswork out of your business. And it almost makes it like impersonal, because when you're thinking about calling somebody or thinking about handing out a sample or something, it can get more scary. But for me, when I'm looking at a paper, I'm like, okay, I got to check that off, got to check that off, got to check that off. It's something to do with my mind. I don't think I'm the only one in this kind of a thing. It just makes it easier. So use that Tracking for Success. I love whoever redid that. It used to be the Doing Your Part weekly worksheet, but this is just streamlined. You've got 4 weeks on a sheet. The information on it is fantastic. Use that tool to help you schedule. And then the last thing here is, guys, you need to be thinking ahead to the holidays right now. They're coming. November's coming. You need to just kind of have it in your mind about what you're going to be doing for your Black Friday, your Cyber Monday sales, and those things. And then Christmas time. These 3 months are going to go fast. They're going to go fast. You can either look back and see that you have climbed up the ladder on them. They're the biggest months of the year, if you work them and if you schedule them. So have it in your mind now that you're going to schedule it. Along come end of November, beginning of December, people are going to be coming out with all kinds of ideas for holiday things, but just kind of have it in your mind now that that's coming and you need to capitalize on it. And not to mention the fact that products will end up selling out when it gets to be close to December. So make sure you're thinking about that. So nuts and bolts, just hopefully simple things of scheduling for you guys. Write it down, use that paper calendar, use the highlighters, use the Tracking for Success. And then I really just wanted to share some book recommendations, because I'm always looking for things about keeping my mind where it should be. We're great readers. Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy, talking about doing the hardest thing, the worst thing, the scariest thing right off the bat, first thing in the morning, and then you don't have to think about that anymore. Ordering Your Private World. This is a fantastic book about just keeping your mind in the Word and in the past that you need it to be in order to make a difference in other people's lives. Then The Miracle Morning. excellent book. I know a bunch of us were reading it back in January. Maybe it's time to revisit The Miracle Morning and get your day started off straight. In the last two, The Slight Edge, Procrastinate on Purpose, the other Rory Vaden book. Excellent books to read if you're looking, like me, to get back on a schedule. We're settled here in Michigan now, and we're really settling in and getting on a schedule. And I'll tell you what, life runs so much more smoothly when that happens. So check out those books. And the last thing, I just want to share a quote with you guys. You saw it in the beginning if you were on, because I showed the end of the book first. Remember, you guys, it's a privilege, not a sacrifice, to pay the price for your dreams. And when you are sitting at the top level, or you're sitting on the beach with all those other VPs, I can guarantee you that they would all be shouting and waving their arms and telling you the same thing, you guys. Not one of them is sitting there right now thinking of all the times they missed a ball game with their child, or they stayed up late because they had to, they wanted to learn more about the products, or the times that they had to drive 2 or 3 hours to go to a party. They're not thinking about that. They're thinking about how privileged they are to be sitting there, rubbing shoulders with their best friends, because truly the people you meet in Arbonne will become your best friends. And they are hoping that the rest of us are going to get the vision that they have, so that we're there with them next year. So hope this helps you guys a little bit. Life is a balancing act, but it always runs better when we're in momentum and in a rhythm. Okay. You want to take it over, Legina?
Just trying to unmute me. Thanks so much, Christy, for that. And that is the truth, is because I know when I get on a schedule, then everything seems to run in balance. My quiet time, my eating habits, my time with my spouse and my family, and everything else. And so it's life is never completely balanced, ever, or it would be boring. So a lot of different great life tips that you gave us tonight, Christy. So thank you so much. A lot of great feedback coming back in. So we will get this recorded and get this sent out. And we really appreciate you guys being with us tonight. Hope you got a part of the Zoom, not the Zoom, of the Facebook Discover. And if not, go back on there and watch it, because it was incredible, and hearing from so many different people tonight. And so you guys go out and put into practice the things that Christy talked about tonight. Christy, thanks so much for your time. Good night, guys.
You're welcome. Good night.